boy. Once again, it is time once again for another exciting episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Hello. Welcome. Good morning. Oh yes. Boy, I feel a little burned out. Let me tell you. Things are out of control. I mean, not personally. I literally couldn't handle it, so I took a week off work. Like, I probably could have swung it as anxiety, and that's why I need to take the week off work, because I literally can't focus on anything other than the insurrection. But I would have to work for it, and I didn't have the energy to work the bureaucracy to make it so I could take sick time instead of vacation time. I just wanted to get it out of it. It's just, I can't handle it. Yeah. I mean, stuff's bad. Let me turn down the music. No, it's all right. No, hey, before I get too far off. Here I am. I'm in my mine right now. And over the course of the week, I made an item sorter just for mining, right? Because I've been mining so much, and I haven't really. And I would just put it in boxes, and it was annoying. And then I kept telling myself, I need to go make a new mining base somewhere. But then I figured, you know what? Why? Just make it at home. I'm here. I'm already here. Why go anywhere else? So I did. So this is your basic item sorter. You got your cobblestone, your dirt, diorite, stone, granite, andesite, gravel, and then everything else, which right now is coal. And how we doing in cobble? Yeah, we're doing good in cobble, not so good in stone. So I'm gonna go mining, and then to get back here's where I'm gonna when I start moving far away, yeah, it's gonna be annoying, and that's why I have the minecart. But for now, I can just drop it in here, and it'll go directly into this dropper, which is right there, and that is powered by, or that is attached to this clock here, that will pump out whatever items are dropped in there, and they're dropped into this water stream here. And why are there no bubbles? Why are there no bubbles? Where are the bubbles? Soul sand, right? Bubbles, soul sand. I probably need to fix that real quick. Hey, okay. All right, hold on. Check this out. I'm gonna watch me troubleshoot Minecraft in real time. Okay. That's so key. All right. So, for some reason, bubbles aren't going up, but it should, because that's soul sand right there. I don't want you to mess up my stuff here. Okay. So, is that a water source? I mean, stuff will still go up because things float in water in Minecraft, but it should go up very fast because of the soul sand. I wonder if it's just I don't know. I wonder what the problem is. Oh wait, there's a bubble. See, you can kind of see a bubble. Here, I got stuff on me, right? Okay, here. Let's test. Put stuff in the hopper. Yeah, it goes up super fast. So I think the lack of bubbles is a visual defect. I think the bubbles are there though. Okay. Anyway, The bubbles are there. Trust the bubbles. Trust in the invisible bubbles. Okay. Yeah, and like this is like just your basic item sorter, right? Like things come in, each one has a block, and then the thing they want to filter out. So block, and this is diorite. Block, and this is cobblestone. So, and then I have a couple slime cleaners set up here, but they don't work so well. Like, look at this. Get out of here. Here's another one. I probably need to make 2 more. There's just so much slime down here. Why is it that underground, in the dark, where there's no light, well, there's light, but why is there so much slime down here? Oh my goodness. See, slime doesn't clean itself. You have to deal with slime. You have to deal with it. If you don't deal with slime, it will overwhelm you. You must deal with the slime. Okay. But that's what I've been working on. I mean, actually, I spent like maybe an hour on it. The other thing I did, let me show you. Let me sleep first. Sleep. Yeah, it's kind of slow in the beginning, huh? Yeah, that's the way it goes. All right, you see, look at that ugly thing that floating in the air. That ugly train line is gone. Because it was ugly, right? It was ugly. It was just a blight on the landscape. Moreover, in my haste, I destroyed the natural beauty of the environment. I had like plowed through what's it called? I plowed through the spire here in my haste to make a train line here, and then I like plunged it into the face of the cliff, and it looked ugly. It was just ugly. It looked ugly. And so I had inadvertently desecrated the land. Like it was like pointless of me to do that. I had no need to make the land look ugly by putting that there. Like it was the ugliest thing I could have done. And so I had, and I recognized it. It was disrespectful. Like I don't know, disrespectful. I don't know, but it just wasn't right. It didn't sit right with me. And so I did all the work to undo the work I did. But I had to make amends, right? You have to make amends. And then now that the amends are made, now that the thing that has been wronged, that has been right, now things can move forward again. Now we can progress. Until I dealt with that ugliness of pointless ugliness, I couldn't go forward. So I'm glad I fixed it. It was lame, right? I had to work to undo the work I'd already done. Like, there's like nothing more that I hate more than undoing what I just did. Working to undo the work I just did. I mean, I plowed a bunch of work into it, and then I have to like undo all that work I plowed into it. Like, oh, I hate it. Oh, but it had to be done because I could not go forward until it was done. So yeah. So now I've got a new mining facility down here. See what I mean? I need no more cleaners. Because if you don't clean the slimes, they will overwhelm you. Maybe that's what I'll do right now. Oh, here, let me put stuff away. I'm like, I don't care. Everything goes in there. Okay, where was I at? What was I talking about? Make amends, moving forward. You can't go forward until you've rectified the things in the past. And the thing is, once you've done it, it doesn't go away, right? You can't just like do it and then walk away and then come back and expect it to be gone. No, no. There's an independent reality that exists outside of your perception. Like, outside your consciousness, there's a thing. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean it's not there. Like, and you can try to forget it, but even if you forget it, it doesn't make it just magically evaporate. It's still there. So yeah, I had, like, I made that ugly train line and plowed through that rock formation, that natural rock formation, plowed through it for no reason, really, just because I was lazy, to make the train line that I didn't really need. Because look I just made it here. I didn't need to go over there to do it. I could have just did it here. And it would have stuck in my head the entire time until I fixed it, and I did. So yeah. There's that. What else do I want to talk about? Well, hey, let's get into my notes. Malignant ignorance. I'm working on a song. But the thing is that, like, I never like feel like I can like get it done in time. I don't want to share it yet. I guess it's not done yet, so I should not share it yet. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So everyone, I've noticed the big drama going on right now is stimulus checks. Stimulus checks. A bunch of people are having problems getting their stimulus check. And it's an issue. Because like it's like we're not really set up to send out stimulus checks, I guess. To like everyone. So like yeah, and there's a bunch of bureaucracy. And the poorer you are, the more bureaucracy you have to deal with. For example, I know this retired woman who happens to be my mom. And she was telling me that she has to go through all these hoops because in order to get the stimulus check, because she's retired, but she's still eligible to get it based on stuff. I don't know. She has to fill out forms and send stuff in, and I'm like, man, this is like a lot of work just to get money that's supposed to be free. Like, And then other people, it's like their check doesn't come in the mail, or it has to go into a special account, or it comes as a card, a credit card. Like it just seems a bunch of bad ways of doing it. And I was thinking, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. We're gonna have to move here anyways. Because we're gonna need to go to universal basic income. A universal basic income. Like, that's something I'm a proponent of. But again, it comes down to the logistics. Everything. When you go to war, it's logistics. How do you get stuff done? How do you support your push? How do you support? Because if you can't support your push is going to run out of steam and fall down. Man, I'm a nerd. Not a nerd. I'm a weeaboo. What do they call that? Like, I like Japanese animation and like Neon Genesis Evangelion. All right. So the robots, the mechas, they can only, they're great. They're huge creatures and they're super powerful, but they can only go so far on their own power. They have about a minute's worth of juice. 1 minute. They can operate independently for 1 minute, and then after that, they shut down. They're useless, and they're worse than useless. You have to go out there and like use your bunch of machines to pick up the now immobile mech, and then ship the whole thing back to your base so you can recharge it again. Like, it's terrible for it to run out of juice in the field, and you only have 1 minute, so you have to go everywhere tethered or you can't go very far at all. You're tethered to your power supply in order to operate for any length of time. So that's logistics. The power supply that keeps you going, that is logistics. That is logistics. The United States used to be great at logistics. Man, like, I mean, that's how we handled World War II. It was all logistics. It was, I mean, you had to supply all the Allied countries with weapons and ammunition. So for the first part of the war, the United States, all the United States did was pump out stuff and ship it over. Like, it was the China of World War II. It just pumped out stuff and sent it to overseas. That's all they did. And then you had to work out how you're gonna ship that stuff over there, because you have like problems. And then once the United States actually got involved in the war, great. Now you have your army in a foreign land, like across the ocean. How do you keep them alive and pushing forward? Well, you need this gigantic chain of supply trucks. And well, how do you fuel those supply trucks? Well, then you need this whole other supply of oil coming in. And then the parts, right? So you need this other side manufacturing parts for the trucks to deliver the food to the army. Oh my goodness, it's like insane, right? You start just, it's a big machine. Logistics is everything. So right now, the United States, we're fighting a two-front war at this moment. Two fronts. On one front, we have white supremacist insurgency. We have the Confederacy has come back, right? The Confederates came back. Like, that might be making things over dramatic. It might not be. I'm not really sure how to work it out. Because is it the new Confederacy, or is it mass brainwashing? I don't know. I can't figure it out. I mean, there's got to be an element of there's an element of racism in there, and yeah, I mean, I think it is the Confederacy, because the Confederate senators and Confederate representatives, Congress people, House members, they pretty much are for the Confederacy. I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Their values are for the Confederacy. They're opposed to everything about the United States. They don't really care about the law. They just want to operate with power. I mean, they're Confederates. I mean, they're trying to overthrow the government. They attacked the United States. How many more, like, letters have to be similar to see that it's a rhyme? Like, like, and here's the other thing, right? Some people might say, well, Pogokiro, why are you doing this? Why are you giving out all this stuff? Why are you pouring all the stuff out? Why are you doing this? That's crazy. Why are you pouring all your stuff out? You should be making money, dude. You should be selling this stuff, making pitches, writing books, and getting some income flow into this stuff. All right, I'll tell you why I'm not doing that. Because to do that stuff requires work, effort, energy, motivation, and I have none to make massive quantities of money. I mean, it would be nice to get me out of, like, having the labor, but that's not why I'm doing this. And I'm giving all this away. I'm doing this, and I said so in the beginning, right? The reason why I'm doing this and I'm giving all this away is because I recognize the existential threat posed by fascism to the United States and to my well-being and to the well-being of my fellow human beings. I recognize it, and it was like I had this neighbor. I think he's like the only one who I kind of talked to about this when it first happened. can, and he's deaf. So like our communication wasn't the best because I don't use sign language, and he doesn't always use his hearing aid, and even then he's deaf. Like it's not the best form of communication for him. Yeah, and so our communication was limited, but we were neighbors at that time, and when the election happened, he was the one I tried to express that I thought Donald Trump was a Russian agent, and how freaked out I was in the beginning when this first happened. Like, I mean, I kind of still am freaked out, right? How many? Two people have already tested the defenses around DC. Yeah, 2 insurgents already testing the defenses. They're already testing the defenses to launch an assault. They're already testing it. And what do you mean they're already testing it? Here, let me show you. Insurgents. They're already testing. Capitol Police arrested a Virginia man as he attempted to pass through a police checkpoint in Washington with fake inaugural credentials, a loaded handgun, and over 500 rounds of ammunition. The handgun was like, 14 with one in the chamber. He had one chambered. He had a chambered round when they found him. He had a chambered round when they found him. This morning, police have arrested a woman at the U.S. Capitol inauguration checkpoint for allegedly impersonating a law enforcement officer. Police report says woman displayed a military challenge coin and claimed to be part of the activities. Do you see what's happening? They're testing. They're testing the defenses. They're trying to find out which of the troops they can they can sway to the Confederacy. Did you see the did you see the Capitol riots? Here, pause this. Here, you need to listen to this. You need to see this. Jaden X. We accomplished. So Jaden X is a guy who's a Nazi. I don't know if he sounds like a Nazi. Right? He talks Nazi. He does Nazi things. If it looks like a Nazi, or not looks. If it talks like a Nazi, walks like a Nazi, walks, talks, sounds, it's probably a Nazi. Jaden X walks, talks, and sounds like a Nazi. So watch. He went into the Capitol, right? And he threatened cops. And because he threatened cops, he made them leave by threatening them. Listen to how he threatens them. Listen right here. Listen to them threaten the cops.
I see people out there get hurt. I don't want to see you get hurt. We will make a path dead ass.
So he's telling the cops, I saw people outside get hurt, and I don't want to see you get hurt. I want you to leave, because if you don't leave, you're going to get hurt. And he's saying this to a cop who's defending the senators and the Congress people. He's telling a cop to abandon his post so the mob can proceed forward. Jaden X is threatening a cop, saying, hey, cop, if you don't leave, you're going to get hurt. That's what Jaden X is doing. Listen again. So Jaden X is telling these cops to leave. Because Jaden X helped or told these cops to leave, threatened these cops to leave, once these cops left, that allowed Ashley Babbitt to try to breach the window. And then that's when she got killed. So in a way, Jaden X bears responsibility for the death of Ashley Babbitt. Listen.
I got a knife. Bro, I see people out there get hurt. I don't want to see you get hurt. We will make a path dead ass. Like, we don't want. That's what I'm saying. We'll make a path, bro. Please, just let us make a path.
See? So Jaden X is telling the cops, abandon your post. If you don't abandon your post, you're going to get hurt. Leave your post. You're going to get hurt. Leave your post. Jaden X is with the crowd. He's not telling the cops because he's on the cop side. He's telling the cops because he's on the mob side. So they're all wearing red hats, the Donald hats. Don't shed on me. All right, look. The cops are out of the way, so these guys are trying to bash the door down. And then Ashley, once they break one window, Ashley Babbitt is going to try. Because Jaden X told these cops to leave, like threatened these cops to leave. Everyone's shouting he's got a gun, but like, what can you hear in that? And so there's Ashley Babbitt trying to breach the window because the cops left, and now she got shot. Jaden X is responsible. Bears responsibility. Why did I... So we have this Confederate insurgency coming along. They came within feet, yards of Congress, and of. They wanted to murder Congress. They were going to murder Congress. They were going to murder Democratic representatives of democracy. The crowd, the insurgent crowd, pushed by Donald Trump and his co-conspirators, tried to overthrow the government. They tried to overthrow the government. Here, watch. Listen, and they'll say, "Oh, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. We didn't try to do that." Watch. Listen to the push.
General George Washington's soldiers were freezing cold, fighting for independence against tyranny, domination, and control. It was their moment to stand up and fight for freedom. To many, January 6th is such a moment.
Do you see that? So Fox News was pushing hard for January 6th to get people there for the insurrection. You have a major media network broadcast to millions of Americans telling them to go to January 6th and that it's a fight for their freedom.
The battle for the White House is now a full-fledged struggle for the survival of this constitutional republic.
Wow. So wow. So the way he frames it is that the way Lou Dobbs framed it was that you have to go to January 6th to the rally for the survival of the republic. Because why? Because the elected representatives of democracy were going to certify the results of an election that was great, that with no problems, a very legitimate election, perfectly legitimate election. So Lou Dobbs is saying, in order to save democracy, we have to overthrow democracy. Now, at the event, right, at the January 6th event, now Fox News has broadcast to all these people, and they gathered all these people who have heard the call to save democracy, to battle, to fight for freedom, and they got him here. Now they're in front of the. Now they're in front. Now they're listening to their commanders, right? Here's what their commanders are telling them.
The people are in control of the United States, and we will take our rights back.
74 million Americans are not going to shut up.
This is about taking a stand where you can take a stand.
We need to fight back. We win because of our ideas. We lose elections because they cheat us.
We're going to keep...
Like, what? We win because of our ideas, and we lose elections because they cheat us? Where? Oh, that's right. You lost every single court case. You actually can't prove it, but you keep talking like that. Why? It's almost as if Lindsey Graham has absolutely no integrity.
Fighting until every illegal vote is thrown out.
What illegal votes, dude? You never found anything. 60-plus court cases lost because you have nothing. All you're doing is pushing something called the big lie. Woo, the big lie. It's a lie that is so utterly outrageous, that it just boggles the mind. How could anyone believe it? And yet, millions of people believe it because this propaganda network, this Fox propaganda network, pushes it out. And the leaders of the insurgency party pushes it out. So the insurgency pushes out this big lie. They have no proof. They've lost every court case. They can't actually show you anything. There's nothing there. Right? Every time they go in front of a judge and they try to stand on the stuff, they fall right through because it's not there. It's just not there. But they keep talking like it is, and they keep broadcasting as if it is. So then that creates a problem. It's like, wow, there's nothing there, but these guys are telling me it's there. So do I believe what I see, or do I believe what they're telling me? I'm going to trust them. I probably don't know. So, I'm looking at it, and I don't see it, but they know better than me. I'm going to listen to these guys because they're better. They know. So that's what...
Rigged the election in front of all of us, and nobody did anything about it.
Really? Nobody did anything about it? What about the 60-plus court cases you lost? Like, what about all those challenges that have been thrown out? Like, it's not there, right? So I can either believe my eyes. Well, actually, it wouldn't be there. I can either believe my eyes, or I can listen to him. And if this guy's telling me the ghost is real, oh, okay. Why? Listen to this guy.
All your congressmen, and feel free, you can lightly threaten them. If you don't start supporting election integrity, I'm coming after you, Madison Cawthorn's coming after you, everybody's coming after you.
We're not timid folk. We're people who understand when there's a challenge in front of us, we rise to the challenge. We fight, finish, keep.
It is time to stand and fight. The swamp isn't truly drained until we've nailed the hides of the alligators to the wall.
We need to fight back. We need to strike at the heart of their power. We need to show that the next revolution is just getting started.
The ruling would be that you got to go to the streets and be as violent as Antifa and BLM.
Will we stand up for freedom as Samuel Adams and his fellow patriots did?
If we don't fight on January 6th on the floor of the Senate and the House, that is...
If we don't fight, do you see the ramp up? Do you see the ramp up they did to the insurrection? Do you see the huge ramp up? It's giant. It's on a major media network. It's all out there. Everyone's blaring it. Come fight on January 6th. Everyone's telling them to. Everyone.
The joint meeting of Congress. On these electors, we're done. It's
Everyone.
time for everybody to stand up and be heard.
President Trump won this election, so everyone who's listening, do not be quiet.
No, he didn't. Who are you? Kevin McCarthy? Are you the same Kevin McCarthy that said Putin owns Trump? I think you are. Why are you saying the opposite thing now? That's weird. Does Putin have something on you, McCarthy?
We cannot allow this to happen before our very eyes.
Liberty-loving patriots that will not let them steal this election.
We have to fight this out for the American people.
This is our 1776 moment.
Get it right. They stole it. All right. We need to take it back for the people.
Right? They're lying over and over and over again. The whole network, the whole party, lying over and over again, right? They keep saying these things. They keep saying, stolen election. Where's your proof? You don't have any. But remember, people who follow Trump don't require proof. They don't need anything. They just need, I don't know. It just needs to feel the way they want it to feel. Right? If it feels good, then yeah, sure.
It's time for conservatives to show that backbone.
Republicans, grow a backbone and fight. We are in this fight to the bitter end. We are going to take our country back.
We need to march on the Capitol today, and we need to stand up for this country.
We're fighting for the future of this country.
We're going to keep fighting. I implore you to keep fighting too.
Freedom isn't cheap, but you know what? Imagine this. But you get to go back home once we conquer the hill.
Patriots here ready to fight, certainly have the back of the president.
If you're going to be the zero and not the hero, we're coming for you, and we're going to have a good time doing it. Don't be suppressed.
Wow.
Don't be put in your corner.
Do you see how they're pushing? You see how they're pushing?
Go quietly into the night.
They are riling up the crowd.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
Yeah, Mo Brooks. That's one. Ooh, Rudy Giuliani. That's the name to take down and kick ass.
Trial by combat.
Trial by combat. Rudy Giuliani right before the riot. The insurrection.
They're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now. We're going to the Capitol. You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength. And we're going to have to fight much harder. We fight like hell.
Donald
and
Trump
if you don't fight like hell,
is
you're not going
insurrection.
to have a country
He's
anymore.
inciting all of them to attack. He incited all of them to attack. He incited all of those Americans to attack the Capitol. Him and the whole network behind him with the big lie. The big lie. Lulu Lemieux. Merci beaucoup, Madame Lulu Lemieux. She's a lot more, what's it called? I don't know. Okay. She's good. She's good at this stuff. Okay. In 1946, George Kennan argued that the Soviet Union would not attack America militarily, but that it would go out of its way to undermine general political and strategic potential of major Western powers, to disrupt national self-confidence, to increase social and industrial unrest, to stimulate all forms of disunity. Anti-British talk will be plugged among Americans. Anti-American talk amongst the British. Germans will be taught to abhor both Anglo-Saxon powers. Where suspicions exist, they will be fanned. Where not, ignited. So the whole point of Russia, the whole point of Putin is to not attack militarily, but to break up the power blocks. So much slime down here. Oh, this slime. I need an AoE attack. Splash potion. Splash harm potion. But all right, that's later. I forgot what I was talking about. Active measures. That's right. So they're attacking us, and their goal is to break us up because Russia can't match us militarily. But where they surpass us is in terms of this information warfare. Where's this other one I wanted to show you? Oh, the big lie. So, yeah, what are the effects of the big lie? Because of the big lie, because of the media pumping all this stuff into your head, 51% say GOP leaders didn't go far enough to nullify the election. They think that, like 56% says that Trump bears zero blame for the insurrection. All of that stuff that Trump said to the crowd, the people who follow Trump say, "Oh, that wasn't Trump didn't make me go to the Capitol. He invited me to the Capitol." That's what they'll tell you. Trump is not responsible for the crowd going to the Capitol, because the people who went to the Capitol, Trump invited them to go to the Capitol. So he's not responsible for them going to the Capitol. Trump invited them. Please, yes, Trump invited people to come to the Capitol. But Trump is not responsible because people went to the Capitol. What? That's Republicans. So remember in 1984, right? Doublethink. The ability to hold two opposite ideas in your head at the same time and be okay. That's what it means to have doublethink. So Republicans think simultaneously that Trump invited all those people to the White House or to the Capitol. That it was under, Trump told them to go. So they all believe that Trump told them to go to the Capitol. At the same time, they also believe that Trump is not responsible for them going to the Capitol. He is not responsible. It's not Trump's fault that people went to the Capitol. But it is true that Trump invited people to the Capitol. But it's not his fault they went to the Capitol. You see what I mean? Oh my God, it hurts my head. But for them, they're like, oh yeah, it's no problem. But for me, damn it, it hurts. It hurts. Like it's just like, oh, it hurts. Okay, 66%. Oh, wait a minute. Say he acted responsibly. That saying all the stuff to go fight, and not concede the election, and to say that it's a fraud even though he has no proof, that's responsible. He's saying that's the majority say he's acting responsibly in spreading lies. Okay. And then Greg Sargent, yep, this guy. A new poll finds that 75% of Republicans and 85% of those who approve of Trump believe Biden didn't legitimately win enough votes to win the presidency. So a huge chunk of Republicans and supporters of Donald Trump all believe the big lie. Without evidence, they're like, oh yeah, Joe Biden's a cheater. I don't know why. Joe Biden's a cheater because Donald Trump says so. That's basically what it comes down to. It's like, I'm unable to think for myself, but the person who thinks for me tells me that person over there didn't actually win, and that this person is the real winner. And I don't see why I should, just because he has no evidence. They're all trying to get insurrection. Oh no. Hey, that's funny, right? But hey, real quick. Some goober in Mesopotamia invented agriculture, and now I have to have a credit score. How is that fair? Right? Isn't that funny? I learned agriculture, and it would lead to credit scores. The hell is that? Oh, something went wrong somewhere. No. Okay. No, wait. Here. Mo Brooks, dude. Where is it? Did I, totally lost it. So this was deleted on January 6th. Dr. Paul Gosert said, if you are within an hour or two of Carson City, Nevada, then help those patriots at their Stop the Steal rally. So he was pushing for an insurrection to happen in Carson City, Nevada. And he knows it because he deleted this tweet. So on on January 6th, Representative Billy Long from Missouri deleted this tweet. What did this tweet say? DC is swarming with red MAGA hats right now. We are bringing the Trump rally to President Trump. Why would he delete this tweet? It sounds like he's supporting the insurrection. And he's sounding like that, yeah. So, oh man, where are we at? Okay, so the thing happens, right? We have insurgents going through the whole place. They steal documents.
I think Cruz would want us to do this, so yeah, absolutely. I think we're good.
So they're stealing documents off the Senate floor. Stealing document here. Let me run that again.
Who's a good one? Him and Lawler or whatever. I think Cruz would want us to do this, so yeah, absolutely. I think we're good.
Like, oh, so I think. So he just said a Republican senator would probably approve of what he's doing right now, stealing documents from the Senate floor. Right? Do you think Cruz is an ally of the United States, is loyal to the United States, if he would approve of stealing documents off the Senate floor by right-wing insurgents? If it were left-wing insurgents, would Cruz approve of stealing documents off the Senate floor? I bet not. That tells you that Cruz isn't necessarily on the up and up. And then also remember that we have COVID. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and it's real bad in our country. So the other part of that fascist attack is that you don't believe in truth, and you try to discount the truth. And so Republicans, fascists, are in denial about the global pandemic. They're in denial about it. And instead, they help the pandemic. They want to spread the disease. They want to kill as many people as possible because, you know, they're fat. They're Nazis. They're Nazis. They want to kill people. So, okay, so you have right-wing insurgents surging through the Capitol, right, looking for Congress people to murder. All right. On the floor, you have right-wing senators and Congress people saying, "Oh, this election was stolen. We don't agree with this democratic election. We want to hold power. We don't care if the majority of people. We don't care what the majority wants. We want to seize power." So, right-wing insurgents coming in to attack Congress people. Congress people attacking inside the government, attacking the American government at the same time. Now everyone gets evacuated into safe rooms. Now they're stuck in this tiny room, right? They have to be in this tiny room with other people. And there's a global pandemic going on. And remember, Republicans want to help the virus spread. So let's look inside. Let's look inside to see what did it look like inside the safe room. You know, let's look in the safe room. Look. So this representative is trying to give masks to these Republicans. And these Republicans, and because they're stuck in this room, they have no choice. They can't just leave. They can't just go somewhere else. They're surrounded by a mob that wants to murder them. So they're stuck in a tiny room, and they have to be near each other. So you would think they want to take precautions. But no! These Republicans want to spread the disease. So they are refusing to wear a mask. They're like, no, I want to get you as sick as possible, is what they're saying. Watch. So he tries, right? And then they make fun of her. See, they're making fun of her. They're making fun of her because she's trying to get them to cover their dirty mouths. And they won't do it because they're Nazis. And guess what happened? A bunch of people got sick because of this. Because of this, because of these dumbasses, because of these dumbass Republicans, a bunch of people got sick. A bunch of people got sick because of these dumbasses. Look at their smirking faces. Look at their smirking faces. We're Team Plague. I hate traitors. I hate traitors. I hate traitors. So you have a violent mob storming the Capitol just outside. Now the lawmakers are stuck inside a safe room with a bunch of plague gnomes trying to spread the plague. outside the building, the cops are outnumbered, big time, super big time, outnumbered. And then so people always ask, you guys have superior firepower. Even if you're outnumbered, you have superior firepower. So let's look at that. So there were points where I thought it was possible I could either die or become seriously disfigured. Still, Hodges said, he did not want to turn to his gun. I didn't want to be the guy who starts shooting because I knew they had guns. We had been seizing guns all day. And the only reason I could think of that they weren't shooting us was because they were waiting for us to shoot first. Right? It's Old West gunslinging, all right? It's Old West. And if it became a firefight between a couple hundred officers and a couple thousand demonstrators, we would have lost. God, could you imagine the carnage? If he would have used if that would have turned into a firefight, the carnage, absolute carnage. Donald Trump would have gotten his desire to see American carnage, right? That was his State of the Union speech. He wanted to see American carnage. He almost got it, except for this guy, Hodges, who did not use his gun. He was going to die instead of using his gun. Wow. He was going to die instead of using his gun. Oh, yeah, logistics. I was talking about logistics. I totally forgot. I was talking about the stimulus check, logistics, stimulus checks. How do we get stimulus checks to people? Because we're having all sorts of problems, right? All sorts of problems. And we already have the solution to this one, right? It's not hard. Japan already did it. What did Japan do? Japan has post offices that are banks. Let me show you. So all throughout Japan, you have post offices, but every post office is a bank, and everyone can open an account at the bank. The post office bank doesn't really do loans so much, doesn't really do like credit cards and stuff like that. It's mainly just a checking account. It's like you don't make any interest money off of it. It's just a place to hold money for a second. The bank also provides an important social benefit through making financial services available to rural areas. In parts of Japan where the population is shrinking or has a high population of elderly people, Japan Post Banking, operating out of a post office, may be the only financial institution available. So by turning post offices into banks, you provide banking. Not only do you provide postal services to rural areas, which are jobs, but you also provide banking services to people who wouldn't normally otherwise have banking services. So, and plus, they're available everywhere, right? Everywhere there's a post office, there's an ATM. Every post office is a bank, is an ATM. And so you have post offices all over the place. So you have ATMs all over the place. So people can get their money. It's an easy way for people to access their money. And since it's owned by the government, right, they can just drop in money whenever they want. It's super, super easy because it's right there. Everyone has a bank account. Everyone can get a Japan Post bank account. Like no minimum requirements whatsoever because you don't do anything with it other than hold money. Throughout the vast majority of its history, Japan Post Bank has always been fully government-owned and organizationally a part of the postal system. In 2007, a bill was passed to begin the privatization of Japan Post Bank and to create separate companies to handle the distinct responsibilities of Japan Post. The government's sale of its shares in Japan Post Bank and its holding company are still ongoing. So they're starting to privatize it, and I mean, they can do what they want, right? But I look at it as a success, and I think of it as a model that the United States should follow. If we could turn our post offices into banks, not only would we have a reason to have post offices in rural areas, but they would also serve as banks to our most vulnerable and needy constituents or citizens. And you can easily drop off money to them. Easy. Since we're going to be in this pandemic for a little while, it would be fantastic. It would be fantastic. I mean, it would be the infrastructure we need to start a universal basic income, which I think we also need. Okay. Oh, there's so much here. I'm taking too long. So let me drop to the thing I want to talk about. I'm taking too long. I'm sorry. There's a story that okay. There's a story that we have to know. This is a picture of a little boy pointing to a Native American, and by him doing that is condemning this guy to death. A little boy is condemning to death a Native American. Does he know who he's pointing to? Probably not, right? They all look the same to me. The trials of the Dakota were conducted unfairly in a variety of ways. The evidence was sparse, the tribunal was biased, the defendants were unrepresented in unfamiliar proceedings conducted in a foreign language, and authority for convening the tribunal was lacking. More fundamentally, neither the military commission nor the reviewing authorities recognized that they were dealing with the aftermath of a war fought with a sovereign nation, and that the men who surrendered were entitled to treatment in accordance with that status. The men who surrendered were prisoners of war. Foreign prisoners of war. There was a war. There was a war. Lincoln, the Dakota 38, and the radical falsification of history. August 17th to September 23rd, 1862. Leading up to the outbreak of conflict in southwestern Minnesota, tensions had been rising for years due to injustices inflicted on the Dakota by the national and state governments, as well as land speculators and business interests that sought to rob them of their ancestral lands. So, 1862, the United States is in civil war. The rebelling Confederacy has thrown down the gauntlet and attacked the United States in the name of slavery. And the United States was fighting back as hard as it could, and for a while it looked a little bit iffy, right? It was a little bit sketchy in the beginning, and so the United States is at war. Earlier on, these natives had already been beaten, and they had already surrendered. It was already done, right? This was already over, and the natives were put on a tiny little reservation, so they couldn't sustain themselves anymore. It's like an animal, right? If you go out there and you see a wolf, and the wolf is he's out in nature. There's the wolf, right? But the wolf is needs to eat, so the wolf eats livestock. So what do? You catch the wolf. You're like, oh, I don't want to kill the wolf. So you catch the wolf, and you put him in a tiny little pen. You put the wolf in a tiny little pen, and then you walk away. What's going to happen to that wolf? The wolf is going to starve to death and die because it can't go out and do what it was doing to live. The wolf is going to die. So that's what they did. The American government defeated a native tribe and forced them to live on this tiny, tiny reservation that would not let them live. So in order for them to live, they needed the government to give them stuff. It's either you let us go out back to our land, or we'll stay here where you want us, and you give us stuff. And so the government signed a treaty, said, okay, if you stay there, we will make sure that you are fed and clothed, and that you're okay. That's our deal. The United States made a deal with these people, with the natives. Okay, but now the United States is in a war, and in this war, it's fighting. It's very, very low in resources because it's fighting a war, and for its very survival, very low in resources. So winter comes, and the tribe is on their little plot of land, but the money is not coming. The United States is at war. It's really hard to get here. And even if it comes, it gets like picked apart by middlemen along the way until by the time it makes to them, there's nothing left. It's like a river, right? It's a big river. Sure, it's a giant river up at the federal government, but by the time it flows all the way down through the various agencies and hands it has to pass through, by the time it gets to the natives, it's almost gone. It's like not even there anymore. It's the way that the U.S. takes away the Colorado River from Mexico. So, I mean, it's the same thing, right? So the Native Americans are like on this reservation, and they're starving. They're literally starving to death. They have nothing, no food, nothing. They're starving because the government backed out of their end of the deal. Because the government backed out of the end of their deal, these natives are going to die of starvation. The fall harvest in 1861 was poor due to an infestation of cutworms, and the following winter was severe. By late spring, many Native Americans were starving and unable and forced to sustain themselves on roots. They ate roots. When they assembled to receive their annuity payments, the goods and money were late. Reservation traders claimed half of the annuity for payments of goods previously given to the Dakota, even though Dakota Chief Wabasha had never agreed to this transfer of funds. So as the money came down, it just got ripped apart. It just got taken away until there was nothing left. Oh, we did that one. Next one. On August 4th, Dakota broke into the Yellow Medicine Upper Agency Settlement warehouse to get food. They broke into a warehouse to get food, and a small group of Minnesota militia threatening the use of cannon fought off the starved and desperate group. Additionally, agents and traders at the Redwood Lower Agency Settlement refused to allow Dakota to purchase food on credit, even though they faced starvation. Andrew Myrick, a trader at the Lower Agency, famously expressed the attitude of many American settlers in the region at the time, remarking, "So far as I'm concerned, let them eat grass." Right? So the Dakota made an agreement with the American government that says, if you stay on this plot of land, we will keep you alive. If this wolf goes into this pen, we will make sure the wolf stays fed. But what happened was they didn't feed the wolf. They didn't do it. They broke their end of the deal. So the wolf went out to eat. And the first place the wolf got to, they said, "No, go away, wolf. Get away. We see that you're starving, but we're going to kill you if you come here. Go away. Go away." So like, there's nothing that Dakota can do. There's nothing. There is nothing they can do, like other than starve to death, because these Americans don't care. These white people don't care. On August 17th, 4 Dakota men who were returning from a hunting expedition killed 5 white settlers in Acton, Minnesota. Upon hearing the news of the killing, Dakota leaders met to discuss the situation and decided to go on the offensive. Remember, they're a sovereign nation. The Dakota tribe, they're a sovereign nation. They're an entity. They're a country. They're a nation, right? They are not the United States. They're like China or the Philippines, right? They're distinct from the United States. They're distinct from the United States. So when they go on the offensive, it's not an insurrection. It's a war. It's a war. It's a war. When one nation attacks another nation, it's war. The next morning, on August 18th, a group of Dakota men led by Tayo Yateduta, Little Crow, a leader of the, oh man, a leader of the Band of Dakota, attacked the Lower Agency settlement. The uprising was encouraged by the absence of fighting-aged men among the settlers. About 1/8 of Minnesota's entire population of 180,000 men fought in the Civil War, higher than any other Union state. So they fought, right? They killed a bunch of people. But confronted with the combined forces of the U.S. military and citizen militia, and facing diminished support for the war amongst their own ranks, as well as neighboring tribes, the Dakota surrendered on September 23rd after a bloody defeat at the Battle of Wood Lake. American troops rounded up thousands of Dakota soldiers, as well as hundreds of men, women, and children who had nothing to do with the conflict. Soldiers burned crops, destroyed homes, and placed the Dakota Sioux into barbaric internment camps. Approximately 1,500 Dakota men, women, and children were taken into custody. Almost immediately, the military carried out show trials to condemn hundreds of them to death. So this sovereign nation fought a war against the United States and lost. And the military staged show trials in order to execute the people, the POWs. For nearly a month, even as the Civil War raged, Lincoln and his aides painstakingly reviewed the trial transcripts. They discovered a lack of incriminating evidence against most of the accused. The commissioners who had handed down the mass sentences were the very military officers who fought in the war against the Dakota. Like, your judge is the guy who fought against you. Under these circumstances, an objective and unbiased verdict was impossible. After careful consideration of the case, Lincoln decided to commute the sentences of 265 Dakota and to not overturn the executions ordered by the military tribunal of 39, writing their names out in various phonetical interpretations to ensure there would be no mistakes. Additionally, recognizing the real threat of vigilante violence in Minnesota, Lincoln ordered that the remaining prisoners be held subject to further orders, taking care that they neither escape nor are subjected to any unlawful violence. In the seminal book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, D. Brown notes that information was released later that 2 of the men hung were not on Lincoln's list, and many had maintained their innocence until the very end. One of those was a young Dakota, Ridanyanka, who was the son-in-law of Chief Wabasha, who had encouraged their surrender. promising that it would ensure no future loss of life. In a final letter to his father-in-law, Chief Wabasha, Ridanyaka wrote, Wabasha, you have deceived me. You told me that if we followed the advice of General Sibley and gave ourselves up to the whites, all would be well. No innocent man would be injured. I have not killed, wounded, or injured a white man or any white persons. I have not participated in the plunder of their property, and yet today I am set apart for execution. When my children grow up, let them know that their father died because he followed the advice of his chief, and without having the blood of a white man to answer for the Great Spirit. Oh. So, the United States Army executed 39 men, 38 men? Which one is it? Is it 39 or 38 men? But one of whom, I think a couple of them were the wrong person. They got the wrong person. So the United States, and then plus, why were they executed? Because they were called traitors. They were executed for treason and sedition. Well, wait a minute. In order to be executed for treason and sedition, don't you have to be a part of that country? Don't you have to belong to that nation? The Sioux Indian, the Dakota Sioux, are not American citizens at that time. They were Sioux. They were their own nation. You cannot be a traitor to another nation. I cannot be a traitor to Russia. I can't. I'm not Russian. I don't live in Russia. I've never been Russian. I don't, I never pledge allegiance to Russia. I'm not a Russian citizen. It is impossible for me to be a traitor to Russia because I'm American. Likewise, it's impossible for these Dakota men who were executed to be traitors. Why? Because they're not American. Well, they're not U.S. citizens. They're American, but not U.S. citizens. It's impossible. You can't be a traitor if you're not a citizen of the nation. You can't do it. You can't do it. But the military was dumb. They didn't care. They just wanted blood. They just wanted vengeance. The military did not care. So to them, it was just like semantics. They just wanted to kill the natives. So the United States so there's evidence. We have history. That the United States used the law of treason and sedition to execute people that were determined to be traitors to the United States. Even though it was literally impossible for them to be traitors to the United States. It was impossible. Yet they were executed. They were executed even though it was impossible for them. But they were executed. And for what crime? Because they killed, I'll say, hundreds. They killed hundreds. And they destroyed property. They killed hundreds and they destroyed property. In their war, they killed hundreds and destroyed property and destroyed enemy property. Killed enemies and destroyed enemy property in their war. And because of that, they were executed for treason? All right. So I say all that to say this. What's the point of having a law that says that the punishment for treason is death? What's the point of having that law if you only use it if the only reason it's there is to misuse it? I think the only other people who got executed for treason were like spies in the 50s or something, who may or may not have been spies. So I don't know. But I know for sure that the Dakota 38 were not traitors. I know for sure they weren't traitors because it's literally impossible. It was impossible for them to be traitors. So the United States has already used this law to execute people for treason. It's not like it's a brand new thing for us, right? It was even misused in order to justice was not served by executing those Dakota men. Justice was not served. Right. Why didn't you execute all the Confederates who were literal traitors, who also killed not hundreds but thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans? Those guys literally killed thousands of Americans. They are literally traitors. Those white Confederates who attacked the United States are literally traitors. And yet you didn't execute them? What's the point of that law? Why have that law on the books if the only point of it is to serve white supremacy? Because that's what it does, right? It wasn't used to support the Union. It was used to enforce white supremacy. Those Dakota 38, executing those Dakota 38 didn't help the Union, but it helped white supremacy. Not executing the Confederates didn't help the Union, but it helped the Confederacy. So if you're going to have a law on the books, the law is supposed to be a reflection of truth and justice. The law is supposed to be a reflection of justice. And as it stands now, it doesn't appear to be a reflection at all. It seems to be a perversion of justice. That's why, now I'm building up, that's why I am looking forward to the future. And I'm seeing that Donald Trump is certainly a traitor. Is certainly a traitor. All those people pushing for insurrection, they are traitors. That's called sedition. When you push to overthrow the government, that's called sedition. And sedition is punishable by death. But the problem is, it seems that our law is only used on poor people. Let's go over here. So you say that law is king in the United States. You say that law is king and nothing is higher than the law in the United States. This is what you say. You say it's like this, that everyone's equal before the law. I'm standing on the law and everyone's on the same level. That's what you're saying. But what I'm seeing in practice is that when you are poor, the law will punish you. It will never protect you. And if you're rich, you are above the law. Here, I have to make this lower. If you're rich, you're above the law. So the law can't affect you. So, looking at treason, in 1861, when the United States executed all those Dakota men, they were using the law to attack people that didn't deserve it. The law should have protected them because they were not traitors. They were enemy soldiers. They're prisoners of war. The law should have protected them. But because the law was not king, it was white supremacy that was king, they were executed. So I want to say that in America, law is king. How would you demonstrate in America that law is king? Well, you would take someone like Donald Trump and show that despite his wealth and influence, despite the fact that he's president, he too is subject to American law. He too is under American law. And if we can execute 38 prisoners of war for treason, which is impossible, and if we can certainly execute an actual traitor who has killed almost 400,000 Americans with his mismanagement of COVID-19. We can certainly do that. Like the law protected white traitors, white Confederates, when they attacked the United States. They under U.S. law, they should have been executed. They should have been dead. But no, they were protected. Instead, the law was used to execute Native Americans. So, in order to make the law, in order to show that American justice is valid, the United States must put Donald Trump on trial for treason and sedition, and if he's guilty, he must be executed per law. That is how you show in America law is king. Because look at what you've done in the past. Look at what you've done. Look how you've misused this law. So far, to me, it looks like the law is used to promote white supremacy. But I want you to show me different. Use the law justly to execute Donald Trump if he's guilty of treason. You've already done it unjustly. You've already shown that you will spare white supremacists, and that now it's time to actually apply the law. How do you apply the law? You demonstrate that no matter how powerful you are, no matter how rich you are, everyone in the United States is under the law and must follow the law. And if you break the law, you must be punished. Now, it's not only do we have to punish Donald Trump for treason to show that the law is king in America. Not only do we have to do that, but also there's another reason. And that reason has to do with the cult. Donald Trump is the leader of a cult of personality, just like Hitler was the leader of the cult of personality in his deal. Right? The way, like, I tried talking to these people, and there's no way you can talk to them with reason. They are beyond reason. Right? You cannot talk to them with reason. So what do you do with them? They're literally zombies. Well, then I like to go to my woo fantasy realm, right? Like I like to use my little fantasy tropes, and I go to my fantasy stories, and there's always that fantasy trope of the wizard who casts mass charm on people, right? And so the people are all zombies, and you can't do anything to break the spell of the people until you defeat the wizard. And when you defeat the wizard, then the spell is broken, and all the people wake up, and they're like, "Oh, what happened? Oh my God! Oh my gosh! What happened? I lost control." If you want to destroy the cult of Donald Trump, you must destroy Donald Trump. If you want to defeat fascism in the United States, you must destroy Donald Trump. You have the legal authority to destroy Donald Trump through the courts. You have the legal authority. We as a nation, if we are truly a multiracial democracy, we will be able to use the power of the government to reflect justice. The slaughter of the Dakota 38 shows that white supremacy can use the courts to hurt minorities. But we want to demonstrate and to protect actual traitors. It's shown that, right? That shows us that the law supports white supremacy. But now we want to show that the government is controlled by the people. And to show that the government is controlled by the people, we will show that no matter how rich and powerful you are, you too are subject to the law. Donald Trump is subject to the law. So we will strengthen the rule of law by trying Donald Trump, and if he's found guilty, executing him. And we will destroy the cult of Donald Trump by showing that he's just a man. He is not some messiah. He is not some super wizard. Donald Trump is just a man. He is just a man. Yeah. So Finding Donald Trump guilty of treason and executing him serves multiple purposes. Not only will you demonstrate that law is king in America, that nothing is above the law. Not only will you demonstrate a break from the barbaric practices of the past and start the first step toward reconciliation. Not only will you start that, but you will also crush the cult of Donald Trump. And if you by crushing the cult of Donald Trump, that's another thing that must be done in order for our nation to heal. The United States cannot heal as long as we have this malignant tumor inside of us. By crushing Donald Trump, it's like irradiating the tumor. You irradiate the tumor by crushing Donald Trump. There's no other way around it. You're not gonna scrub out the cult of Donald with reason and rationale. You have to do two things. You have to destroy Donald Trump, and then you have to put out a lot of media with the truth, not telling the truth. Repetition. Unfortunately, repetition works. Okay. That was a little unguided and a little meandering, but that's enough for now. Yeah. Japanese internment. I didn't even get to the Japanese internment. Right? We've already done this. Right? We've already used the power of the government to destroy a group of people. Why were the Japanese put into concentration camps and had all their stuff stolen? They had all their property stolen. Japanese internment camps were established during World War II by President Roosevelt through his Executive Order 9066. From 1942 to 1945, it was the policy of U.S. government that the people of Japanese descent would be interred in isolated camps. Enacted in reaction to Pearl Harbor and the ensuing war, the Japanese internment camps are now considered one of the most atrocious violations of American civil rights in the 20th century. They rounded up a bunch of Japanese Americans, stole their stuff, and put them in concentration camps. Why they didn't, just like they did the same thing to the German Americans and the Italian Americans. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. That's right. German Americans and Italian Americans look white. Oh, that's right. White supremacy, right? Lots of time the government has been used to enforce white supremacy. Right. We want to demonstrate. So if the government is used to enforce white supremacy, who's holding the government? If a gun is used to kill good people, who's holding the gun? A criminal. A bad person's holding the gun if the gun is used to hurt good people, innocent people. If the bullets that come out of the gun go into the brain of an innocent person and the person dies, then you can guess the person holding the gun is probably bad. If the policies that come out of government hurt innocent people and help traitors, if the policies that come out of the government hurt minorities and help white supremacists, then the people holding the government are probably white supremacists. But if the policies that come out of government hurt the guilty, regardless of their status, and protect the innocent, regardless of their status, then the people holding the government are probably good. So let us demonstrate the alignment of the people who control government. The way you demonstrate the alignment of the people who hold government is you enact justice on the powerful, regardless of their power. That's how you demonstrate that the people holding the government are good, is that they wield power justly, regardless of your power level, of your wealth, of your status. This is why we have to put Donald Trump on trial for treason, and if he's guilty, execute him. Execute him. Execute him. Pogo Kiro out.